Stock of the day, I thought we'd take a look at Accent Group. They reported this morning total group sales are up 52% compared to the previous financial year. FY23 gross margin is up as well, basically 0.5%. The stock is up 12% today. A good retailer. Retailers have been smashed over the last year or so. Claude, what do you think of the Accent Group update today and its stock price at the moment?
Well, so I'm not usually big on retail, but Accent Groups does stand out over the years for building a really good business, basically. Some of the outlets that viewers may be familiar with: Athlete's Foot, Hype DC, Platypus. I think there's Glue is like another brand, and so if you zoom out and look at the 5 or 10 year chart of this stock, they've actually been a retailer that does seem to have created value and gotten a better business over time. Now, the last couple of years, results were kind of buoyed by all the COVID stimulus, etc., and people spending more on retail. So I do think, it would be reasonable to have valuation concerns. But today's update, given that interest rates are going up, etc., I think it was very strong, and it just shows that they do have a good business, and that if you were looking to buy a retailer at some point in the next couple of years, this one deserves to be on your watch list, just as a decent, good, growing, small cap retailer, profitable, dividend paying. I don't think it's quite cheap enough right now to attract me, and we're not at the best point in the cycle, given that I think maybe there will actually be harder times ahead for retail. I still think this is definitely one for the watch list. With Lovisa and a few others are my favourite kind of retailers.
God, hasn't Lovisa shot the lights out in the last 6 months? When all the other retailers have been smashed, I don't know whether it's because it got put into the AX 200, so you had a lot of index funds getting into it. But God, it's had a fantastic run, hasn't it?
Yeah, the ASX 200 inclusion can definitely have an impact when it gets in. But at the same time, I think it's fair to say Lovisa is one of the higher quality, or if not even, top few highest quality retailers in Australia on the ASX. So that's good to see it go well anyway.
Yeah. Luke, what do you think of Accent?
Yeah, well, look, it's a Brett Blundy retailer, Koshi, which I think Lovisa is as well. So, just from that alone, you expect to see a quality retailer. Today's update was pretty good. I mean, you see that in the share price bounce. The sales update was 52% sales on last year. Now they didn't give a like for like, but I would hazard a guess they haven't rolled out too many new stores. So I think a lot of that would just be at a store level as well. But the gross margins that you alluded to, 570 basis point improvement in gross margins. There was some weakness last year in FY22, which led to a pretty ugly result, to be honest. But I went and had a quick look at what FY19 looked like pre-COVID. And if these gross margins hold through the year, you'd be looking at a record result at that sort of level, which would be very impressive. Claude highlighted, look, we can sort of foresee the weakness that we'll probably expect in consumers, particularly next year, as a lot of these fixed home loans start to roll off and that interest rate pain does start to hit the wallet. I had a quick look around consensus. As best as I could see for FY23, it's trading on less than 10 times earnings, and I think those numbers will get upgraded tonight. We'll see some broker notes tomorrow, I'm sure. So it's likely even cheaper on that basis, maybe 8 or 9 times earnings. Look, I think for a more speculative investor, and when I say speculative, I'm not talking about the business. This is a quality business. If you held this for 5-10 years, I'm sure you'll do fine. But more speculative over the next year or two, just with the issues you're going to see around retail. If you can stomach that sort of volatility, I think you could look at Accent even today for a buy for the right investors. Especially if you compare it to something like Lovisa. You're getting a much more reasonable valuation for growth not as strong and the quality not as high, but still easily in the top probably 5 or 6 odd retailers in the country. So I thought it was a really good update today for those guys.
Single digit PE. I checked JB Hi-Fi today as well. It's only on 9 as well. So it just shows how those retailers have been thumped.